appearances, it looks like PHA did its due diligence and did what it needed to make sure that they had smoke detectors, working smoke detectors, at least insurance at the time of inspection.
And obviously another benefit potentially to hardwired ones is in some cases they can be hardwired directly to the fire department. And when it goes off, the fire department is immediately notified and then dispatched. Chad, we've got some cell phone video that we want to share with our viewers here. People on the street shot this in the early morning hours today, sometime just after 6:30. This is when one of the neighbors woke up and saw the first indication of flames, smoke. And very quickly, in the estimate of some eyewitnesses, first responders arrived on the scene. There was some indication, some questioning during the news conference earlier today as to whether there may have been any delay in the response. The fire chief brushed that off. I said not to his knowledge, and eyewitness accounts on the ground certainly back that up. They were there very quickly.
Let me see if I can. Apparently, this happened, and this is in Philadelphia. 13 killed. How did I turn them down?
Basically disintegrated the inside.
Can you hear me now? Just because it doesn't mute in my earbud, so I'm trying to make sure. Do you still hear this? Hello, Earthbound Spirit. This is happening right now in Philadelphia in the Fairmount section. Apparently, this is federal housing. A fire got caught. Can you hear me, or can you still hear the news broadcast? Just questioning. You know what? I should just check it out for myself because I'm trying to. Oh, you can hear me? All right, good. Because I'll go back to them talking shortly. But this happened as of 6:38 this morning. This is federal housing. So this is public housing. This is going to be something that is definitely going to be shown because this is a duplex. So the way these houses works, like the bottom floor had part of the top floor, the second floor, and then the people who lived up had part of the front floor, had the second floor and the third floor. So obviously this started in the second floor, and 26 people were living in this house. 26 people. And no one knows why or how this is happening, but 7 children and 6 adults killed in this fire. And still, I think people are unaccounted for. So let's listen in.
Anything new you can tell us?
There you go.
Well, Brian, nothing new to report at this point, but I want to kind of set the scene. Take a look behind me. This continues to be a very active scene. We saw some smoke coming from the unit in question not too long ago, possibly firefighters putting out maybe some hot spots. There's also that ladder there. Not sure if that ladder was used to maybe bring people out of this unit, but we're told that ladder has been there since about 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, it's been there all
It's a
day.
very active scene. We hope to get another update from fire investigators in another couple of hours or so, but there's just no way and no words to put this outside of horrific tragedy. This is just so heartbreaking on so many levels. Again, 13 people dead, 7 of those including children. We also know 2 people were transported, including in that number was a child that was transported to CHOP to be treated. We don't know the extent of those individuals' injuries at this point, but again, this is just absolutely unbelievable, absolutely heartbreaking.
Living in a single home,
in
really.
this community throughout the day and spoke to someone not too long ago. Take a listen.
I mean, it's devastating to wake up and hear 13 people died. It's crazy.
Everyone's trying to get a feel for this community, like if people know each other, what people.
It's a good community. This isn't a bad community.
I knew of them in passing, saying hello. I think for most people on the block, it's the same thing. It's a tight-knit community. We might not be hanging out, but it's just each other. So, yeah.
How has this changed this community, you think?
I have no idea. I mean, I guess it depends on what actually happens. They don't know. They don't know if it was a problem with the housing or what. So,
do you know if that was like one big family or just separate families from?
From what I can tell, there were multiple families. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm not sure.
What are your thoughts about the victims and their families who are going to get this news?
This is really sad.
Absolutely devastating.
Really, really sad.
How it happened.
That's why I wanted to put it up, because some of this
All right,
stuff
so
gets
back out live,
passed
see,
by, and
fire investigators
I
just
saw
got
this in the
out here
news. I'm
on the
just like,
scene
oh my
inside
God.
that unit in question, and we were told
Hey,
over
Lucy's
20
World.
people
Hey,
were
Jefferson Gem. Hey,
inside
Earthbound Spirit.
at the time.
Karen,
But you heard the mayor saying
Merrick.
earlier,
Thank you guys for coming in.
sometimes that
I
happens.
appreciate
People,
it.
sometimes it's better to be inside than on the street. But so many unanswered questions in this horrific story. We're going to keep working the story, trying to talk to more people that were impacted.
That's not a bad
We can tell
neighborhood,
you there have been
guys.
people who have come up to
It's a
the
nice
scene
neighborhood.
and they are sobbing uncontrollably. So a lot of people impacted by this, a lot of hearts broken, and our hearts go out to this community today. Ryan and Christy.
Yeah, they certainly do, and we all share in that grief as we watch this play out live. Gray, thank you.
And you can stay with Action News for continuing coverage, but we're going to take a quick break.
As we watch this.
Real is
All right,
celebrating
let me put this
Nashville,
on pause
y'all.
here.
Tennessee and all your life.
Tennessee girl,
All right.
yes.
And
Mute them. While we have commercials, so yeah, this was public housing. So they had gone into this house a couple times. I saw the mayor went live. Not a big fan of his, but he looked quite upset. I mean, who wouldn't be? Hey, Nika, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. So then you had the fire commissioner come out, and the man was obviously sobbing. This is hard for them. They found 7 children. I mean, let alone finding 6 adults, but 7 children, 26 people living in one house that they cut in half to make apartments. So my mom, I was talking to my mom about this, and then she called these houses, obviously, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost houses is what they used to call them back in the day. I'm like, yeah, never heard them referred to as that. And she said, yeah, that's what we used to call the Father, Son, Holy Ghost stories. And she said, some of them you can use as duplexes. So this is used as duplex, but it's honestly one house. So you have one house, 26 people living in there, 8 in the bottom, 18 on the top. Here we go.
Fairmount section of Philadelphia today. At least 13 people dead inside this duplex unit at 869 North 23rd Street. Obviously, so many questions
no working
today,
smoke detectors.
not least of which is the identity of
None.
the victims. What caused all of this? Why potentially 26 people might have been residing inside a duplex unit here in the 800 block of North 23rd Street. So many neighbors are gathered on that street today wondering how this could have happened as firefighters, Christy, gathered to try to figure that out right now.
That's right. And one of the things that
Sorry,
really
all I can do is
struck
shake my head.
what we were hearing on the ground with our team that was speaking with residents was the fact that there could have been elementary school aged children. We know that there are children inside, but as young as elementary school aged kids. As one mother said, I think those are my daughter's classmates there. But we also want to toss to you a bite that we had from earlier at a press conference with fire investigators talking about what they're doing at the moment.
It's a sad,
This
sad
is him.
day
This is him.
for both the Philadelphia Fire Department and the citizens of the city of Philadelphia. At 06:38 this morning, companies responded to 869 North 23rd Street. Upon arrival, they found heavy fire emanating from the front of a 3-story row dwelling on the 2nd floor. Companies began an aggressive attack on the fire, and in the process discovered that there were multiple fatalities.
What they're
at this
saying,
location.
I don't want to mute him, but I'll answer
The
you.
fire was
Earthbound. Give me 1 second.
extinguished, and it was terrible. I've been around for 35 years now, and this is probably one of the worst fires I've ever been to. We are working with the fire marshal's office. We plan on and intend on getting a cause for this fire. We plan on getting to making sure that this tremendous loss of life did not happen in vain. As for right now, that number is dynamic because there's still an ongoing recovery effort inside via the fire marshal and the ATF. And that number sits right now at 13. We also had 8 people self-evacuate. This dwelling was a duplex. The first floor had the first floor and the rear of the second floor, and the second floor had the front of the second floor and the third floor.
I hope that makes sense.
I don't have the words for how we're feeling right now as a community and as a department. We also transported Philadelphia Fire Department EMS, transported 2 other occupants to one to Children's Hospital, obviously a child, and then the other to Temple University Hospital. So as of right now, the fire marshal, along with the ATF, like I mentioned before, are in the process of doing a thorough investigation of this terrible event.
That means there's 3 people still missing.
There were 4 smoke detectors in that building, and none of them operated.
All right, that was the fire investigator speaking. This is another Vantage Point ground video from earlier this.
I'm going to pull this out for a second so you guys can hear me. To answer your questions, it's not legal in Colorado to rent low-income housing without working smoke detectors. What they're saying is in 2019, they had gone in and changed the smoke detectors to 2. In 2020, they went back in and installed 2 more smoke detectors. So that's 4. So in 2021, the year that just passed, they never went. And he said it just, they were constantly checking on them, but none of the smoke detectors worked at all. I believe, anybody who had those places basically may have been living on the street at one point or another, or have family members who are not being able to make it. So it's better to sleep inside anywhere than it is on the outside, because I don't know about you guys. I don't live far from Philly, and it's freezing. It's super, super cold, and it's freezing in Philly. So this could be a space heater incident. This could be, I don't think it's intentional. I really don't think it's intentional, but it could be one of those like space heater, kerosene kind of space heater incidents. They're really big. I know that I don't even know if they make kerosene heaters anymore, because they're always a problem, especially in Wisconsin. They wouldn't get away with that. Well, this is Philly, so yeah. But it's super sad. It's all very sad. I saw this unfolding this morning, and I was on Carla's, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was watching the news and talking to Carla, and I'm watching this, and when they said 7 children, that broke my heart. It broke my heart. Stephen, apparently in Philadelphia, in the Fairmount section, there was a fire, which was basically one home that has been made into a duplex. 8 people made it out. 13 people are dead. There's still people missing. So we don't know what's going on, what's happening, if there's anybody else in the house. And they're not even sure how many necessarily were in the house because of the homeless problem that's going on. And basically that there were 18 people in the top part. I mean, just insane. All right, this is the beginning of our news program.
It will go down as one of the worst tragedies, fire or otherwise, in Philadelphia's very long history. 13 lives lost today, 7 of them children, in an early morning fire in the city's Fairmount neighborhood.
And right now we have new video just into our newsroom that shows the flames firefighters were facing when they arrived on scene. Kyle Mendernach, who lives nearby, took video of the flames shooting from the building as firefighters work to get control of those flames.
It is noon on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Christy Aletto in for Sarah Blumquist.
We continue our breaking news coverage now of that devastating situation in the city's Fairmount section. It all began with a fire at a duplex, the 800 block of 23rd Street, just after 6:30 this morning.
That's right. Officials say 26 people were inside that building when the fire broke out, and tragically 13 of them did not make it out.
We've got live team coverage here this afternoon and the latest on this horrific situation. We're going to begin with Action News' Walter Perez, who's been on the scene for hours now. He's got the latest on what we're hearing from authorities at this point. Walter.
That's right, Brian and Christy. At this point, we're still waiting for full confirmation on all the information. But as you mentioned, regardless of the final numbers, this will go down.
Oh, Stephen, don't say that. We got to have some kind of hope, please. Some kind of hope.
Live look at the scene right here. This is the 800 block of North 23rd Street. So far, we know at least 13 people have been killed. 7 of those killed were children. 2 others were injured and hospitalized. 1 of the injured is a child. A short time ago, we had some information from city leaders, among them First Deputy Fire Commissioner Craig Murphy, who had this to say about the tragic scene.
At 0638 this morning, companies responded to 869 North 23rd Street. Upon arrival, they found heavy fire emanating from the front of a 3-story row dwelling on the 2nd floor. Companies began an aggressive attack on the fire, and in the process discovered that there were multiple fatalities.
Back out live here now. At this point, we know at least 8 people were on the 1st floor. Approximately 18 people were on the 2nd floor. So at least 26 people were inside that building at that time. This was a Philadelphia Housing Authority home that was divided into 2 apartments. And we were told there were 4 smoke detectors inside that building. None of them operational. The fire broke out at about 6:30 this morning. The fire was brought under control pretty quickly. But once again, the big story
Exactly,
is the
Lucy.
toll of this tragic fire.
This is the problem with the homelessness in our country.
Action News. Back to you.
And adding to that human toll, the potential that 3 people remain unaccounted for right now. Walter,
3 people.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let's switch live now to Action News reporter Gray Hall, also live at the scene, not far from where Walter just joined us.
Sick to my
with more
stomach
on what
from it.
neighbors are saying
Sad.
today. Gray.
Brian, everyone in this community is ripped apart. They are heartbroken. There's really no other way to describe it. What we have not mentioned yet is the names of those victims, because they have not been released as of yet. So it's important to note that 13 people are gone, 7 of them children. Names attached to all of those victims. So this community deeply hurt by this tragedy. Take a look behind me. This has been the scene here for the better part of the morning. A very active scene. You can see firefighters are still here, police officers still here, and community residents still here. We saw a lot of people hugging, consoling each other. There have been people who've come to the scene sobbing uncontrollably. We are not sure how they are connected, but in some way, they are connected to this tragedy. People in this community telling me this is a close-knit community. One
Yeah,
guy
they
says
all are.
he saw people go in and out of the building, so he knew those faces. And this morning when he woke up and he saw the flames and he heard the screams, it ripped him apart.
Oh my
Take a look
God.
and listen to some of the people who live in this community, how they felt about this tragedy.
This woke me up immediately. So came down and flames and the fire trucks were here immediately. So for years now and seeing the faces. So it's just sad to think what might have happened. So
Just heartbreaking that one life is too many, but multiple
Really
lives
creative
is
renewal. I
heart-wrenching.
wasn't sure if
Just-
they
just
made them
terrible.
anymore.
I just figured it was a routine call of sorts. But when I saw multiple fire trucks,
We don't know what the
several
cause yet is. We don't know
ambulances,
anything
I walked
really yet,
outside
and 3 people are still
I saw
not
the
accounted
pictures
for.
of the entire building, their building over there was on fire. So I was like, okay, this was severe. So it caught fast and it traveled throughout the home pretty fast. It looks like from what I saw.
And you're right. All right, so back out live again. This is going to be an active situation, probably pretty much all day. But to kind of put this into perspective on the emotional front of this, you had a deputy fire commissioner who's been on the job.
I never heard
for some
about that,
35
Lucy.
years.
I swear to
That
God.
deputy commissioner saying,
I would have
he's
been in jail
never
long ago if that
seen
was a problem.
fire this devastating, and what really touches your heart, any life lost.
My
is
heart's
one too
broken,
many,
and I
right?
don't
But
even
when you hear
live in that.
7 kids
My parents are from
died
Philly. I'm from
in this
Philly.
fire, that takes it to an
This
entirely
hits home
new
slightly
level.
for
But
me.
again, this is a scene here. People continue to
The
show up
the
to this scene.
homelessness.
We're not sure how they are connected, but again, they are connected in some way. And the deputy commissioner also saying this is still a recovery situation. So unfortunately, there is that possibility that more lives may be lost. That's hard to believe, but right now we can report again 13 people dying in this tragedy. 7, unfortunately, are kids. Ryan and Christy.
And that long perspective from the fire chief just adding to the devastation of the situation and driving it home for all of us once again. Great, thank you. That's the situation on the ground. Let's give you a live look from the vantage point of Chopper 6 flying live over the scene. It has been, as you might guess, a very, very active scene since early this morning when those flames first broke out. Just about sometime before 6:30. Right now, many crews remain on the scene. They are members of the fire department, ATF, police officers as well, combing through what remains of that structure right now and doing so very carefully, given that that structure is very likely compromised on the inside. It still remains a situation where there are victims on the ground inside that building, and there still remains the very real threat of that fire sparking once again. Chopper
Thank you.
6 giving that perspective live here at 12:07 this afternoon.
And we want to show you some other viewer video from early this morning from another neighbor. You can see thick black smoke billowing from a row home on the 800 block of, well, not black smoke here. This is actually looks like the fire.
It's all the way
is
down
pretty much
further.
contained
Yeah.
At this point. But
No,
it is
that's
on
not the.
800 block of
Oh.
Ogden Street before the sun came up, followed by a daytime view of the scene as firefighters doused hotspots. Let's go over now to a different vantage point.
All right. All right. So I'm going to put this on mute. All right. So I'm telling you, I don't get. Is it California? Do you live in California? Because it's saying California, Salt Lake City, Utah. Sorry, I'm just reading. I'm trying to read this. What you're saying about feeding the homeless. It's illegal. How do hidden, no. I believe it. I'm not seeing exactly where the states are and stuff like that. But let me just play a little bit more of this. Oh, here's this inspector. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I love you, Jenny. Thank you. Here, Lucy's World. I'm going to do something. There you go. If you don't want it, let me know. If you want to post some stuff up, I'm fine with that. Oh, I thought I had this playing, so you guys were listening. I'm sorry,
Sure,
y'all.
we do know
I thought you were
18 living in one
listening.
unit.
Duh.
This housing authority duplex had a sort of funky configuration. You had one unit that took parts of the first floor and the
And
second
see,
floor. The other took
yeah,
parts of the
it's
second
so
floor
weird. Like the
and
front
the
part,
third floor.
those.
But in one unit, there were 18 people living in it, and that's just unacceptable according to the Philadelphia Housing Authority.
Think about that.
You also may want
In
be
an
wondering
apartment,
about sprinkler
18
systems.
people.
In new construction, especially with many municipalities and, of course, here in the city and with the Philadelphia Housing Authority, if they have new construction, they put in sprinkler systems when you have adjoining units where a fire could start in one and then attack another unit. That doesn't happen for some of these older properties, and according to the Housing Authority, they've owned this for decades. So if people are wondering about sprinklers, there's the answer to that. But really, a lot of
These houses don't have sprinklers.
at this point. Now,
These houses are
Action
super
News,
old.
We did an investigation in 2020 looking at urban housing units, federally owned housing units, and those by the Philadelphia Housing Authority, and found deficiencies.
And this is a nice neighborhood,
with regard to
guys.
smoke detector inspections, and especially follow-up inspections. That said, it appears they did have those annual inspections here with the Philadelphia Housing Authority in 2019, 20, and 21.
Okay,
But
because they
here's
didn't
also
talk
a
about
major problem
21
with some of
this
these. You're
morning.
dealing with sometimes people
They
are
don't
living in
know
these
yet,
units
Jenny.
when the batteries
We don't
may
know.
go off or need to be replaced.
3
They just
people are
take
still
off
unaccounted for.
the smoke detectors, or they don't replace the batteries, and that's a major
7
problem,
children,
according to the Housing Authority.
6
Now,
adults
others may be
passed.
wondering, why are these things
8 people walked out of their
not being
own.
hardwired
8 people walked
so
out
they
on their
can't,
own.
run
There was
out of batteries and
there was a
can't be
hurt
disconnected? Well, those don't
child
usually
who went to chop.
happen when you're
Who went to
dealing with some of
chop.
these
I
older
can't tell if
units
it's me
owned by the
or if
Housing
it's them
Authority. So a
buffering.
lot of unanswered questions at this point. We're still trying to talk to licenses and inspections about anything they may have done. So far, we have not heard back from a spokesperson. For now, live in Spring Garden, Chad Prudelli, Channel 6. Action News. Back to you guys.
And the Philadelphia Housing Authority and the Fire Department taking this occasion today to remind people across the city to make sure right now that your smoke detectors are working. Obviously, they could well have saved lives in this situation today. Chad, thank you. More coverage of the tragedy in Fairmount right after this.
All right. Right now, there's obviously no more answers. It's just, at this point, you're in your house and you're in an apartment, check your smoke detectors, make sure they're working. I mean, it's getting really cold. So these are the times when people will like search for extra kind of heat and find it anywhere. Yeah, there's nothing to report on yet. I'm going to keep following this story. This is something that's in my neighborhood. This is something I can keep following and I can report on for you guys in case you guys are interested in it. Hi, Loopy Lisa. I didn't even see you walk in. Hello, sweetie. Hanging with Mr. J. Hey, good to see you too. Oh, creative renewal. Thanks everybody for coming in. Does anyone remember the firemen who? Yeah, we always had somebody who came into the school with this chop, drop, and roll and things like that. Oh yeah. But I saw this like when I woke up, and I'm not a news watcher. I don't turn on the TV hardly ever. I think most of us who are on YouTube realize that we don't want to watch TV anymore. There are some things I still watch, but I put on the news. I was listening to Carla, and I was watching this, and I'm like, oh my God. And they weren't sure how many people. And when the guy came out and said there were definitely children whose lives were lost, I knew this was going to be bad, but I had no idea how bad this was going to be. 26 people. Yeah, 26 people perished, not perished, but 26 people were living in the house. 13 are dead. 8 walked out. 2 went to hospitals. And there's 3 more that we don't know anything about. It's kind of crazy. It's really sad. And I just, use my art to revive my life, and I'm forever grateful for the internet and my ability to make art. You know what? Absolutely, I totally agree with you, because for me, and by the way, thank you, Lucy's World, for posting that for me. I'm still trying to find my happy place, and I'm happy when I'm working, and I'm not capable of it. So I'm looking to get like maybe a small part-time job that won't kill my benefits for disability, but it's also got to be able to deal with my disability as well. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything. I got to be extremely honest. I mean, I want to work more than I want to stay home, but I got to be honest with them and be like, I got a really screwed up back. My stomach doesn't work. Who the hell wants to hire me? Be like, wait a minute, you don't have a working stomach? No. Your spine is fused? Yeah. It's going to get worse? Yeah. But see, I'm the type of person like life could be worse. Life could be worse. I am grateful for everything I have, even including my illnesses, because it's more than what people have today, especially in this area. I mean, look at this. This poor woman's heartbroken in the brown. Heartbroken. Oh.
Confirming what we knew from sources, that 13 people had perished, including 7 children. 2 more people were injured. The recovery effort continues nearly 6 hours later. We've seen relatives shown up consumed with grief, heaving sobs, just uncomprehending what's
hate those
happening
sobs.
here, the reality of this situation. People who know them in the block from running around and playing and smiling and laughing, they can't believe that this is the scene today. This is traumatic for everyone. The survivors, the families,
Oh my
the first
God.
responders. Any fatal fire is traumatic, let alone when there are 13 people who died, 7 of them children. You need to imagine there'd be counseling for the first responders. I did reach out to the school district. We're hearing some of the children attended a local elementary school. So I reached out to ask about counseling in schools, but you can imagine that will be underway as well. Neighbors woke up this morning to screams and sirens, smoke, and just pure terror. So many people trapped inside this row home at 23rd and Ogden. One neighbor tells me she felt how cold it was and started handing out blankets.
I think it was around 6:30. Pulled my boyfriend out of bed and was like, there's a fire somewhere. So we came outside and I saw the flames billowing out from the second story window.
Oh my God.
And then I honestly can't even remember if the fire trucks were there already, but they very quickly, many more came.
Hi, Mr. Shannonite.
Yeah, I know these neighbors, so there's several kids that attend Bash Martin right here. They're always outside in the warm weather playing, and I walk by just on a daily basis and say hi. It's just
hi, Carla. I think I said hi.
Devastating, and I think I'm still in shock. So.
I'm back here live where you're taking a look at the first responders, the police, the fire department, all the different authorities who remain on the scene here hours after this fire began. Of course, the cause remains under investigation. Guys.
And Catherine, we heard in the background of one of the videos you just played the sound of sobbing, and it just grabs you by the throat when you hear it, and you can relate to the woman who just talked about what a tragedy.
Did you hear? That's what got me, man. That's what got me.
Thank you.
Hearing
much
that
more
sob.
Continuing coverage of this tragic situation throughout the day on 6abc.com. There you'll find the latest updates from what police are telling us, and of course live coverage from the scene as well. We'll be right back.
I mean, really nothing more to say about this whole thing until we know more. I'm going to keep on top of it. I'm going to go live or make a video as news breaks about this, and hopefully the people who made it to the hospital, one went to Temple, one went to CHOP. So I assume one was a child, one was an adult. I'll keep my eyes on this and I will bring it to you because I'm sure a lot of you, most of you don't even live in the country. So this is like my backyard, guys. So, I mean, this isn't where I grew up. It's not part of the city where I grew up. Philly's a pretty big city, but it's more closer down in, I think, North Philly. It's called Fairmount. And it's a nice area. It's not a bad area at all. But I'm going to wait to the next commercial break and see if there's anything different. If not, I'll let you know. And then I'm just going to come back. But watching this, there's a lot of stuff going on around YouTube, and a lot of people are focused on one thing. There's a lot of things that need to be focused on, like the homelessness going on around the world, not in just our country, but around the world. And especially because people don't have the money because they're losing their jobs with everything closing. And our kids are home this week. What if I had a job? I couldn't go to my job because my kids are home. I don't know how people are doing it. And it's just wreaking havoc on everybody. But, you know, no one has the right answer for this. You know, people are getting sick really easily. My daughter's friend just got it. Thankfully, she hasn't been around her during the holidays. Remember to live chat it? Okay, I will. I'll live chat it here.
3rd Street in Philadelphia's Fairmount neighborhood. Chopper 6 flying live over that scene, as has been for the better part of this tragic morning, where at least 13 people have perished in this house fire that erupted this morning about 6:30 today. We now know at least 7 children dead and 6 adults as well.
That's right. And the big question, aside from their identities and putting a face with a name, is also about the smoke detectors. We know that there were 6 inside. None of them were operable. And the most recent inspection, according to the Philadelphia Housing Authority, was May 5th, 2021, where they actually replaced 2 of those detectors. There's also the question of why there were so many individuals inside the unit where those flames broke out. Investigators said that there were 18. The mayor also said that we shouldn't rush to judgment as to why there were that many inside, because we don't know their family situation. He also said that we're also at a time in our city where it's safer to be inside than outside. So, you know, a lot of questions that need to be answered right here.
Yeah.
Streets aren't safe.
Video in from viewers who've been sending us what they saw as it unfolded this morning. This is the first perspective we've gotten like this. Devin Swanson capturing this footage from 22nd in Ogden after waking up to the sound of screams at about 6:40 this morning, and you can see that glow of the flames. This was very intense. If you've not yet gathered from the aftermath of that fire, you can now see it as it played out this morning, illuminating the skyline in the Fairmount neighborhood of Philadelphia.
Yeah, it also gives you a really good picture of the magnitude as well. And this is other viewer video from another neighbor earlier this morning. You can see the black smoke that was billowing originally from the row home on the 800 block of Ogden Street before the sun came up here, followed by daytime view of scene as firefighters continued to douse hotspots. And we know that this vantage point also gives us just how extensive the scene is and that perimeter that they've blocked off. It's not just the 800 block of North 23rd Street, but probably spans a larger perimeter around that initial area as well.
Yeah, clearly there are many things we don't yet know as this investigation is in its very infancy right now. But what is evident from every video we've seen thus far today is that these flames erupted quickly, spread quickly, and these lives were lost very quickly in the course of just minutes early this morning, just after 6:30 a.m. today. Action News will be right back.
All right. I'm going to stop sharing here. Go ahead. All right, hold on. Like I could still hear it. I will definitely keep you up to date because everybody's home today and everybody's on like Zoom and doing Google. That's why like my internet sucks today. Sorry about that. But definitely thank you for coming. Thank you guys for being awesome moderators in here and also being awesome people and just being here and checking out other things that are going on in the world. And this one is heartbreaking. And when I want to keep this out. Normally I don't keep my computer out. I normally like shut it out, put it away. I'm not going to come to you by phone. So if I can share the screen, I would, and I can't do that on the phone. So I will keep an eye on this. I will go live again today as soon as I find out more. Otherwise, I will see you all later. Jenny, Lucy's World, Lisa, Mr. Shannonite, Life is a Gem, Carla, everybody, everybody. I'm trying to think. Nika was in here. Earthbound Spirit was in here. Hanging with Mr. J was in here. Lucy's World. Everybody is just awesome in here. I appreciate you because I don't like the drama. I don't even like the krama. I don't like it. I don't find it entertaining. I don't. And I know if you probably saw my community post, I put up a community post. Basically, I think the best is follow that list. And maybe, you might not be the most entertaining. You may not be the person who gets the most views, but I get the most enjoyment of coming to seeing faces I like. I don't get enjoyment out of fighting. I don't get it. I don't get how people can go on the internet and fight like children. I don't get it. It blows my mind. But for this, like I said, I'm not. Ooh, shoot. Sorry. Go back. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm like, I hit the wrong button. But it's just sad. This whole thing is sad. And, there's certain stories out there that are just not being told because a lot of people are just focusing on the same one. So I'm not a true crimer. I'm really not. This is just something that's happening locally in like my back neighborhood area, Philadelphia. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. And to see the fire commissioner just trying his best to hold it together, trying his best. It's sad. It's sad. But any other updates, like I said, as we know now, 13 dead, 7 are children, 6 are adults. 1 adult was sent to Temple University Hospital here in Philadelphia, and the other child was sent to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Yes, we always need some silly. We always need someone to make us laugh and be there because you know what? This world is just too crazy. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, who the fuck can we laugh at, right? I laugh at myself all the time. I love you guys so much, really. I do. I appreciate you guys. And it's like, I don't want to go on here sometimes because it's just the vibe of the whole internet is just gross. And I don't want it. But you guys are always good and you don't bring that crap here. And I appreciate you guys so much for not doing that. I really do. So like I said, I will be back as soon as I have more information on if they find anybody else or if they find anybody else or if we find out more about why the fire was started. Okay. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you and I will see you later. Bye.